So many of you have followed us over the past couple years as we became more and more self-sufficient out in the country. Well, now we're going to start a new journey. We'd like you to join us as we try to do the same thing right here in the middle of the city.
After we got settled down here in our new home, I was so eager to get growing some of our own food again. But I quickly realized, Florida is one big sandbar. So if we wanted nutritious food and healthy soil, we had to do a raised bed garden. I started researching, and originally I was just going to do wood. But cedar is extremely hard to come by down here, and termites are terrible. Of course, you can do treated lumber, but then you're introducing toxins into your planting soil. So I started looking at the trendy metal raised bed gardens, and my research led me to a company called VegoGarden. It's an American company formed in 2020, and they quickly became a leader in raised bed metal gardens for a number of reasons we'll talk about through this video. I wanted to see if their product was all it was cracked up to be. So I purchased the bed you see behind me. We assembled it, and we actually got a small garden started to test it out. And you guys know how much we love experimenting. Well, I quickly fell in love with this bed. So I actually reached out to VegoGarden to discuss a collaboration, and they sent us 2 additional units that we're going to talk about today. There was just one problem with proceeding through this garden experiment.
Yeah, and Danielle decided to go and get surgery on her shoulder. She's got about 6 more weeks in that, and so I'm going to have to step in with her direction because she put this one together and she absolutely loved it for a lot of the features that we'll talk about. But I'm going to go ahead and put the other one together and get that set up, and we're going to see how it works. Well, the first step right out of the box is to sort all of your items. So let's see what we've got in here. First off, we have the manual that explains exactly how to do all this and gives you the names for everything. So you want to go through this, make sure you have everything. We have 8 side panels. We have 4 corner panels. We have a brace rod for the center. We'll see that later. And then our hardware, and that's a nice little sticker too. Our hardware is actually in here. So we'll pull this out. This is the top. This goes along the top. We'll see that later. And then we have all the nuts and screws in here. And then you have this nice little 3/8 screw. And if not, you can use an open end wrench. And I also have a Phillips head screw driver right here. So pretty simple altogether. We've got all the parts. Let's get started.
The most difficult and time-consuming part of this process is peeling the protective liners off of each piece of the metal that create the raised garden beds. Sean and I are working here on the 17-inch tall 9-in-1 modular metal raised garden bed kit, while Ruth is in the background working on the 42-inch wide round raised bed kit. So we're kind of knocking it out 2 in 1 here. While this may not be the most fun part of the setup, I have to admit I really appreciate the detail VegoGarden puts into protecting the product. This liner protects the non-toxic paint that is on both sides of these metal panels, and by having that liner on, it gets through the shipping process with no issues. Next, it was time to assemble and see these raised beds come to life. The instructions here are extremely easy to follow, no problems whatsoever. Just a little bit more time consuming because you had to put 6 nuts and bolts on each section of panel joint. With all of us working together, even my 5-year-old was able to assist and get us through this process pretty quick.
Before you tighten up all these screws, I want to get this brace rod in the middle because it prevents the sides from bowing out. So we'll get this set in.
This is another feature that attracted me to the VegoGarden bed because it really increases the longevity and durability of the bed.
Well, this is a one-man or a one-woman job, but I had some help and I took advantage of it because here in the daytime it's really hot, so we do everything in the evening or in the morning. And we were actually racing daylight against the night. So we will finish this up in the morning. It took us probably less than an hour to do that, so not too bad. Well, it's morning time, and the last step is to put this edger on here, and it goes on pretty tight, especially where these pieces overlap. So it takes a little time. You just got to be patient with it, and then when you're done, you cut off the end.
As a person prone to injury myself, and since I garden with my younger children, like my 5-year-old, I loved this safety aspect. It was the only garden bed that I came across that actually took the step to protect you from any sharp edges. In addition, the metal is actually rolled on both top and bottom a little bit, so there's not a sharp edge to begin with. But as an extra precaution, you put on this little rubber liner and you're safe and good to lean on the bed and do your garden work.
All right, so when you get to the end, you're gonna have some leftover here. You just gotta cut it where it enters, and as you can tell, it's pretty easy between the joints, but on the joints, it can get really, really tricky. But that's it. Nice, safe, smooth edge. Let's go make a platform for this to sit on.
I forgot to video this before we got everything assembled, but I wanted to point out one of the safety features that attracted me to VegoGarden is these safety caps that go on the bolt. These safety caps are put on the top 2 bolts so you don't risk scratching yourself as you're working in the garden. All the bolts that go below that just have standard, regular hex type nuts. I think we've wrapped up setting these beds up. These two have done a great job getting the beds ready for me to plant, and that is going to be our next step. So I'll be putting out some seeds and seedlings. Be sure to stay tuned so you can join us on the journey as we learn to grow vegetables in this whole new climate down here. If you are looking for a raised bed garden like this, be sure to check the link we have in the description under this video. We actually have an exclusive link that you can go through to purchase, and it actually helps support our channel and our educational practices. So we'd really appreciate it if you use that link to make your purchase. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
All right, well, thanks again for watching this week. If you've got a comment, please leave it. Let us know if you're doing raised beds, how you're doing it, your success, your failures. We always pass on both of them.
Any tips for Florida?
That's right. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and we'll see you next time.